Changing perspective was the tone of this week's meeting. Seeing things differently, changing the narrative, and in effect raising the frequency to another level of deeper consciousness of what is and what isn't. And how we see situations in life depends largely upon our own perspective, our thinking, and from that, our reactions. And when you find yourself asking what is missing, why are things not going right, and what am I doing wrong? The answer is what perspective you are looking at the situation, and is that all that there really is there? Or are you just seeing the illusion and not the reality? And so it's time to 180 the situation, question everything. And why 180, you may ask? Because a 180 changes everything that is in your view and literally turns it upside down. What is up is now down, and what is below is now above. And you then have a new horizon to admire the view. You will probably see things stand out for the first time that have previously gone unnoticed. And like as was suggested in a previous show, taking a new route to work, you see different people, different scenery, and suddenly you feel different. Your old routine became boring and mundane, while today's brought a new lightness, and maybe you even got to make a new acquaintance. And some might say, should it not be 360? But 360 becomes a circle, a closed loop, a return to the place you last stood, and you never had the chance to take in the broader picture. You just ended up back where you started. And seeing the results of our work in the Blueprint Action Groups sometimes needs a broader perspective and a different type of vision. Power versus Force is a book written by David R. Hawkins, and the premise of this book describes the scale of consciousness devised by David Hawkins to measure energy, frequency and vibration, and it then shows us how we are operating in this world in a different format. Now on the transcript you'll be able to see the picture. And the diagram of an inverted triangle or cone shape is used to measure our emotional state. It measures from 1 to 1,000. The lower the scale, the further from enlightenment or God consciousness you are. Now the lower of the scale represents the power of force and what it produces within us. A control system of low vibration that keeps us enslaved, downtrodden, angry, fearful and codependent. Leading us into war and division, which brings in the need quite nicely for the Saviour program, all low frequency and energetic level of being in the world. And the higher end of the scale shows us where our true power lies within. It needs no saviour, merely the recognition of the true power you hold. It takes away the need for codependency and saviour programs, as you ultimately come to be a peaceful and loving sentient being working from the heart. Where at that level your frequency is the control system without fear, and unity becomes your modus operandi, and the sacrifices turn from bloody to bloodless. The higher the frequency and energetic level of being in the world. Now at the very end of the scale, shame scores the lowest at 20. Next is guilt, apathy, grief and fear scoring at 100. The contracted end of the cone. And their loop system of dole out the program and let's control the masses, the inorganic path or wave. Now, the most recent example of this program in full flight was the COVID scam. Guilt them all by telling them they will kill their mother, neighbour, family, etc. if they don't do as we say. Then bombard them with fear, which is false evidence appearing real. And soon you're filled with grief and a false sense of loss dooming on your horizon, or apathy because you check out and won't take responsibility or recognise what is going on. It is the ideal slave system, the basis of the dueling mind syndrome and the victim-abuser consciousness. All's designed to keep their world operating for their gain. Now, to escape this closed-loop system, you must begin to raise your vibration above these lower emotional states and rise to courage, which only scores a 200 on the scale. And this is the stirring of the heart towards rebuilding the Humpty Dumpty broken shell of you from a millennia of slavery. The awakening of the real soul journey and development. And once you step into courage, you can make a choice for the self, a chance to 180 what went before and create from the creator spark that has been sleeping within you. With courage, you come from a more neutral space. With less of the dueling mind control, you can overview and become willing to make the right choices and changes. And therefore, an acceptance that something needs to change has already begun to flower. The path of self-empowerment and the organic path or wave. It opens the door to your inner light and inner wisdom, the road less travelled that brings you into the heart space. And this heart or love consciousness is the halfway point on the chart, only scoring at 500, the expanded end of the cone. The next phase is the rise to full consciousness, or the level of the gods to become your own god, or taking the golden path, scores at 1000. And so in overview, the 180 gave you a chance to walk a new path and create a new way of being, leaving their control structure behind and courageously embracing first yourself and then the blueprint. With open eyes and an open heart, your perspective has risen to the point of co-creating the biggest opportunity we ever had. To embrace and integrate the restoration plan, namely the new blueprint for humanity, and 180 our first ourselves and then the world. A change of perspective holds the key to unlock your true potential as a higher universal man or woman and embracing your own sovereignty. And all you need is to take your courage into your own hands and be willing to accept who and what you truly are, the crown of creation. To rise up despite all the pain of the past, the hurts and the shame, which are merely programs that are still operating within your chakras and bypassing the higher chakras, stunting your true growth. Thomas asked in a previous show, have the gods returned? In essence, we all have the ability to become those gods. But first we must reclaim our own truth, honour and integrity of the self, and embrace and integrate with great courage the awakening of this great chance. To break the cycle or circle and become the new way by embracing the flower of life within. And these are merely stepping stones to the great leap of faith, where the few become the many that recharge themselves with the frequency of truth, honour and integrity, which is the real key to freedom. The rise is and always will be a personal choice, a chance to negate the fall of man. An opportunity for us all to become the free, sovereign man and woman we were always meant to be, and this song holds a reminder of that by Andrea Day. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up high like the waves, I'll rise up in spite of the ache, I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again.